Hey everybody, Brian Goulet here with Brian Gray of Edison Pens, and it's nighttime at your home here.
It is.
And we're both really tired.
It's been a long day.
And I'm slightly sick, but we still wanted to shoot a video for you all today because it's not that often that you get to have two Brian G's in one video. In fact, it's been a couple of years since we shot a video together.
Was it 2 DC Pen shows ago or 3? Was it?
It was 2, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, so you came to our shop because you came to DC. It was in August, and you got to see our old place.
Yep.
Not our new place, but you guys got a new place.
And you got to see it today.
Absolutely. So I guess let's go ahead and start off talking about the new place, because when I asked for questions about, hey, what should we talk to the Grays about? Your new place came up and kind of your growth and some of the stuff. So you got a lot to talk about there. So I just kind of wanted to hear about it.
You know, for the longest time, the building was in our garage right back there. And about 1,000 square feet. You know, I mean, when the whole business started, it was in that little garage.
Yeah.
All right. And
I can sympathize
exactly.
with what this is like.
And so, you know, the business really started with just a small manual lathe, bigger manual lathe.
Yeah.
And then I went through some layoffs with my pharmaceuticals job. And, you know, towards the end of all that, I, you know, started actually kind of making a little bit of money where I thought maybe this would work.
Yeah.
So, you know, we built 1,000 square foot, you know, basically like a 4 car garage out there. And we existed there for a good, I would say, 9 years full time. And before that, we had a little bit more going on too, or a little bit more time before that as a hobby, as, you know, having fun. And then we stayed there as long as we possibly could.
Yeah.
We were stacking to the ceiling. It's rent free. It's cheap. And you know, but we just got to a point where there were really kind of 2 factors. One was we just don't have any more space. We need to hire more. We need more machinery. If we're going to handle this growth, we got to figure something else out. Mm-hmm. The other is that I wasn't positive up until then, but we were breaking zoning violations. And it was one of those deals where it's like...
I was in exactly the same situation.
I know.
Unwittingly, of course.
Me too. Because, well, here's the thing, though. I thought maybe I was... But I didn't want to go find out.
Right,
you know
exactly.
I didn't want to go ask.
You don't want to go down to the courthouse and be like, here's what I'm doing. Am I breaking? Oh, I am? Okay, great. Actually, can you send me some fees and violations maybe? Yeah.
Here's exactly how it happened. We added a small outbuilding, like a, I don't know, 10 by 20 outbuilding out there. And of course, I went to the zoning office for that. I'm like, by the way, just curious.
Asking for a friend.
Exactly. Did you do the same thing? Or
no. I'm just assuming how this is going here.
I've got a good friend that lives out of town, and he loves woodworking. And he would love to live in my neighborhood, but he's not sure.
Say hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically.
A woodworker was to come and
I'm sure
run a business out of his garage.
I'm sure the zoning inspector is like, sure. That's,
okay, buddy.
Right? So she gave me the answer, and I'm like, ugh. The funny thing is, the development across the highway right here,
right?
It would have been fine.
Get out of here.
And it's identical.
Get out of here.
This one...
Literally just like a neighborhood regulation.
The reason is because there's 2 doctor's offices over there.
Oh, get out.
Like right on the street.
Well, there you
go. You know,
go figure.
So it's not like we're not in a development where the houses are close. We have a full acre. Every house is a full acre.
Sure.
So it's ambiguous anyways as to what I could really do out here. But no, I couldn't.
But
so after I learned that, not only did the business need to grow and get more space, but I wasn't going to sleep until, I mean, if she showed up,
the
and
burden
it's like,
of knowledge, you know.
You have 30 days to vacate, I would have been like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we started looking around for those 2 reasons, growth and it's time, and I'm going to just be stressed out until it happens.
Man, this sounds exactly like my situation back in the day. Yeah. Except we had 7 people in a 500 square foot garage.
Oh, wow.
So things got real uncomfortable real fast.
Yeah.
And it was the same kind of thing, though. But I don't know if it was anything like you, but I mean, you've been in here for a while, and you've probably been very comfortable. I mean, literally your commute to work is you walk 10 feet to your garage.
Out that door.
You know, I can very much, I remember those days and miss them dearly. But at the same time, it's also like, you know, did you ever anticipate that this was going to be any bigger than just a home-based business? Like, when you go out and get a lease on a commercial space, that's like, oh, like this is a real business now.
Well, the reality of a real business was way before looking for this, because we were quite successful and squeezing the business into that little space for quite a while.
Yeah. But you had to think like maybe if we got a bigger house and had a bigger space, like did you ever think like expansion might mean still keeping it at home, but just getting more of a bigger garage or something like that?
Possibly. But then we found a building that is literally, you drove from there with me today, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, which is nice because the
really
rent
is.
The rent it is truly in the middle of nowhere. The rent is low. It's perfect. We basically almost quadrupled our space, and it's surprising how we're already using up all of it.
You get used to it pretty quick.
And this was just January. This was just about a year ago that we made this move.
Well, that's because you're not having to store things in like the upper corner of the back of the.
It's not forced efficiency.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's really how that.
You're not like rubbing against people as you're walking past them. Every time.
And our employees are not coming into our house to use the restroom. You know what I mean? It's like
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Sometimes we love our employees, but sometimes you like to have your own home restroom to yourself.
Yeah, personal space can be a good thing every now and then, for sure. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your space now, because I'm seeing it. We're going to have some footage and stuff to show. So
give me your impression. What do you think today?
It kind of brought me back for sure. Yours is a little different because it's a manufacturing environment, so it's mainly kind of like just open. Industrial space, I'll call it. So you don't have carpeted floorings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's dust and there's things like that to contain. But it very much brought me back exactly to like, what I call like the early days of Goulet. It's like when we moved the business out of our house and we had more room. Like I can feel in the air that your team is like so spacious and like you get to hang out together and you're still kind of in the same room. But at the same time, you're not like on top of each other, hearing literally every conversation that goes on all day long. So it's a really, from my perspective, having been there, it's a really fun time and a really just fun size of business to be, because you get kind of the best of both worlds. You get some people to help you out and you get to still be involved and there's a lot of camaraderie, but you get a little personal space. So I'm really happy for you and I hope you guys are really enjoying it.
Honestly, it couldn't have worked out better because we love the aspect of having the business so close.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's also difficult to divorce yourself and get away. And if I need to get something done with work and I can just walk outside to get it done, sometimes, that's not a great idea because maybe I should be spending time with my boy or my wife or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a little bit more separation is good. In some cases, it's not so good, but I wouldn't trade it at this point by any means.
Yeah.
And a big portion of that, it's not only about more space. You can imagine that machinery for pen making is not exactly a 110 that you plug into the wall.
Right. Yeah.
We're talking three-phase machines.
It's not really something you set on your kitchen countertop.
Exactly.
Here. These are large pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
They generate a lot of noise, a lot of vibration.
So here we had totally maxed out what we could do with our electricity off of residential. And the fact that we had three-phase machines in a residential area,
maybe not typical.
I think that a lot of people are like, what are,
That might not have been what the HOA had in mind when the neighborhood was established, probably, but, that's cool. Did your neighbors ever have any issue with noise or anything like that?
Our immediate neighbors all knew what we were doing, and they were totally cool with it. It wasn't any problem. There's no chemical smells. There really is no noise. I mean, the machines that we use...
It's not like a hazardous manufacturing environment, which is probably why there's mainly a concern.
And the machines are... quieter than what you might think anyways.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, the loudest thing is probably just a compressor. But even that, I'm making sure that I've spent more money on like a better oilless compressor that has a lower decibel rating.
Sure.
And then I put that up in the attic of the shop so it wouldn't drive us crazy. And our neighbors never had any problems with it.
That's cool.
But at the same time, it was definitely time to move out.
Yeah.
The other aspect, the reason that I got into the power aspect of this is that without this new building, we couldn't really accomplish the growth that we want to and that we're about to do right now, which is new machinery.
Well,
you know.
that's a good segue, Brian. I did want to talk about
I
some
set
of the
you up
growth.
for that.
I know.
I set you up for that,
I can
didn't
tell
I?
you're a pro. You've done some video stuff on your own. You're just like, you're softballing them for me here. So yes, new growth. Obviously, anybody who knows both of us, they know we have the premiere. They know that we have had done other collaborations together. And they're always excited to see what we kind of come up with together. They're probably anticipating what's going to come out of this visit for sure. So just, do you have any insights into your growth and kind of what's planned for 2018, what's coming?
New machinery. We're going to keep the machines that we have, move them to a different part of the building, and then bring in all new stuff that is, first of all, our machinery right now, quite frankly, is a bit outdated. A lot of you might remember, of course, in the summer we had a servo motor on a lathe go down, and that crippled us for a good month, if not longer.
Because you're like running at capacity on these machines.
Exactly.
And these machines are your life. I mean, that's...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and just one of those goes down, that crippled us for a good month, and it took us, I'm not exaggerating, quite stressful and lots of long days, and thanks to my wife, our employees, everybody, it took us more than 3 months to really get back on track.
Yeah.
And we're still at a point where we're having this growth that we have to think about. You know, we either need to start turning down more accounts. We need to either stop doing less seasonal premieres.
No.
I know that's not the plan.
That ain't gonna happen, Brian.
Yeah. Well, but
No.
but people that are fans of the seasonal premiere, you know, there's been a couple seasons where they're gone in 2 days.
Yeah.
3 days. And then we're scrambling to make more as fast as we can.
For sure.
And there's only so many capacities.
Well, and that's why it's important, to show kind of like the personal side of the business, because I mean, it's a handful of people producing these pens, and when there's health issues and machine goes down that's like really critical,
Exactly.
Somebody who's a little bit detached might go through a retailer like us and be like, oh, you're out of stock. Why don't you guys order more? Why don't you manage your stuff well? It's like, we don't want to throw you guys under the bus and be like, the Grays just can't get it together, Of course, we get it, and so it's like we try to soften that message a little bit, but even still, it's like there's real life stuff going on here, especially when you're kind of like in that growth mode and you're like busting at the seams with your equipment or whatever. And if it's not space, it's equipment. If it's not equipment, it's your people. If it's not people, it's some other thing, technology related. There's all kinds of stuff, and it's like whack-a-mole sometimes, right?
Well, and really, from one of the mistakes that I made is that the machinery that we had, everything that was in there, instead of having a few backups or a backup or having something dedicated for the emergency,
right,
everything that we had was running at max capacity, and if one of those went down, we couldn't make our obligations, and that's what happened.
Gotcha.
And we were totally stressed out. That means a lot to me that I can't fulfill the orders that I need to, and that bugs me a lot. And it really, it keeps me awake at night. So keeping the old machines, finding a new location, those can serve as backups, second operations, short runs, stuff like that. But then new machinery is coming in that is double the weight of these, double the size in all areas, and faster, more accurate, more automated, so we can get parts off a lot faster. Yeah. Now, exactly what we can accomplish in 2018, I don't know. I signed papers on these about a week ago,
right?
And the first of them will be here hopefully within about 8 weeks. So we're still off a bit, Then once that gets here, of course, it's not something where I plug it in,
right?
And we're making pens. Post-processing.
There's no Edison pen making machine that's just like a
Coke machine,
a plug and play?
Yeah, you put in some quarters and a pen pops out.
Right.
No, that's not how it works.
Well, explain to me a little bit, because I've been fast. You don't need to go super deep technically, but even what you would explain to me, kind of like what is the process for setting these things up? I find it pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
So you get this machine delivered. It weighs, I don't know, several tons, right? Like it's
8,000 pounds.
8,000 for one of these machines, and you're getting how many of these things? Like
more
than one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So lots of heavy equipment, basically.
Yes.
This isn't the kind of thing you get delivered by Amazon Prime, right? No. Like it's a commitment.
It's a big deal. It's a huge deal.
What happened? How long is it going to take you to set this thing up? Like, what do you have to do?
These machines speak a language called G-code.
Okay.
And that's pretty simple. You can write it, you can type it out, whatever you want.
Okay.
Each machine speaks maybe a slightly different language because this uses this controller, this uses this controller, but it's all based on general G-code.
And what's the controller? Is that like the brain of the lathe, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So getting our designs to go through a post-processor. A post-processor is something that will take our CAD, CAM, our raw files for the Premier cap, the Premier barrel, the Beaumont barrel.
Okay.
And then it will interpret that into a language that the machine understands.
Right.
Okay.
Which is like spin it this fast, move this tool in, make this cut,
call up
do
tool
this
one.
thread.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Call up
gotcha.
tool one. Make tool
It's like
one do this.
Well, and it's like a programming language, right? So you literally have to program like every single
Yes.
step in operation.
Yes, but you don't necessarily. And now, of course, there's times that I need to do this. You don't want to sit down and write a, I don't know, let's say, 300 to 500 line program, and each line might have anywhere from 5 to sometimes up to 50 characters. And you're gonna type this all out and do it like, because if you put a decimal point in the wrong spot,
Right.
you literally
It's gonna destroy your stuff.
what would have been a tenth of an inch could be a full inch, and then you got a crash.
Okay.
And you got a tool that runs into a very expensive collet.
Right.
And the very expensive
On
tool,
your brand new machine.
Yes. Yeah.
No pressure, Brian.
Yeah.
No
So
pressure.
so having this post processor is basically something that will enable us to take what we have for our existing programs and make it speak the new language for the new controllers.
Okay.
But that's not a simple process because I'll put it this way. If I have the first machine up and running within a month, I'll be very happy to where we can really just go on there and let's make a Beaumont, let's make this, and let's just put it in and we're all set, tools are done, now we're running a part.
Yeah.
That alone could be up to a month is what I'm thinking. Now,
Wow.
I may be generous. I think I have the post-processing language down with the software that we're using right now. But absolutely. And then, so once I get the post-processing, next is tooling. Figuring out which tool goes where, what's the most optimal spot, where's the boring bar going to be, where's the threading tool, the ID, all this is a lot more complicated. And finding out that optimal layout is difficult.
This isn't like in the instruction manual, right? Like this is all stuff that you've got to dream up and like in terms of like your operational efficiency and all that kind of stuff. You got to think through this based on your designs and your workflow, right?
You don't get a catalog in the mail that has pen making equipment.
Right.
And you just, I'm going to buy that. And and then you're
and this is like large industrial equipment. There's not that many custom pen makers out there, right?
Exactly.
So like this is equipment that you could be making brake calipers and you could be making hubcaps and who the heck, like all different kinds of stuff. So it's really customized in terms of how you have to program this thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be long and involved. Once it's done,
right.
I can like have a beer and
everything
is off my shoulders and let's get, so once the first one is done, then the rest can come in.
Hey,
and
Luna.
That's my dog.
We got a little guest here.
Yeah. I don't know if she's in frame or not, but that's our puppy Luna.
If you hear any jingling running around as we're going, that's Luna.
Yeah.
Not named after our pen. This Luna came first.
That's right. Yeah.
Completely unrelated, but coincidental.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where did I leave off there.
I don't know. Luna completely derailed my conversation.
I know. But essentially, the new machinery will. And now, what will it really do for us? I mean, can we triple our productivity?
Right.
Can we a little more than double? Can we increase by only 20%? The answer is I don't know. So what are the plans for 2018? I have no clue until these machines are up and running.
Gotcha.
And that could be, let's say, any time from early spring to summer.
Gotcha.
It's kind of that unpredictable right now.
And this is good to explain for everybody, you know, because I think sometimes we think like, hey, Brian and Brian are getting together. Maybe in a month we can see a new pen. It's like, it's a little more involved than that. Like there's these relational building type things. It's like I went and saw Lamy last month, and that was insightful because I got to see production at a whole other level.
I mean, they're loved to have been there with
they're manufacturing 10 million pens a year,
and that's insane.
Which is mind blowing. They literally have an entire building filled with engineers who are designing the parts for the machines that make the pens. So for them to come up with a new design for a pen is 3 to 5 years because they have to design the pen and then design the equipment and then design the parts to make the. And so it's like, it's interesting hearing that the process is not all that different. Yeah. It's just at a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But even still, a smaller scale means a new pen design might be 9 months down the road, something like that. So it's still a ways out, but we can still talk and have fun and hang out together, of course.
So what 100 employees at Lamy are doing, I'm doing all of that
400.
too. 400. I'm doing that too, but just on a smaller scale. I'm not doing, what did you say, 10 million?
10 million pens a year.
All right. No, we're not doing 10 million a year.
No.
Yes.
No.
We're not doing that.
No.
And I don't want to.
No.
We've discussed this. You've tackled more growth and been more aggressive. I don't say aggressive, but you've been seeking more growth than what I have, as far as the way that our business, because we started around the same time.
You had a little bit of a head start on us.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting little thing for those of you who have followed me for a while and we're into like the right time days and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we collaborated a lot more back then.
Yeah.
And I talked about this more, but like literally I aspired to do what you're doing originally.
Yeah.
Because you started out hand making wood pens and kit pens and assembling them and stuff like that. You got into the metal lathe and the kitless pens, and then that kind of grew and grew and grew, right? That was your path. Literally, I was like 2 years behind you, and you had a reputation on Fountain Pen Network, and people kind of knew you, and I was like, freaking, that guy's got the same name as me. Like, it's going to be hard for me to go and do, like, I felt like I was copying you, even though that's kind of the track I naturally was on.
Yeah.
I saw what you were doing, and I was like, he's a good guy, like, he's got a good reputation. I can't try to become like the second Brian G. But then literally that, I'm not joking, because you were already there.
Yeah.
I said, what else could I possibly do? And that led me more into the retailing route, so that as soon as I kind of discovered that was, hey, I've got a knack for this and there's an opportunity, I immediately, it was early on that I was talking to you. I think literally we were talking about doing stuff together before I even got into fountain pens.
Yeah.
Like I latched on to you pretty early because I saw that we were a good fit, right? And
I got to tell you, as a compliment, I'm really glad that you took that route, because I don't want to compete with you. I want to work complementary with you. You might have crushed us by this point. You know what I mean?
I doubt that. You got a pretty rock solid reputation there.
We might have had our tail between our legs, and I would have gone back to my old job.
You never know. In like an alternate universe, we could have been like mortal enemies, combating each other.
That'd
Brian
so
G
horrible.
versus Brian G. I can just see the two of us in a face-off with a lightning bolt down the middle, like an MMA fight or something like that.
Knowing you and I, that would never happen.
No,
I think if we took the same paths, we'd still be best of friends. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I was very much along the lines of like, I don't want to go head to head with this guy. I'm gonna go this way. I don't want to compete.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a nice compliment. I'm glad I got there 2 years before you.
Exactly, it was meant to be. But I can completely, to kind of like go along what you said of like how we've pursued like more growth and been more aggressive. I gotta say, it really didn't feel like that way early on. And hearing your story and kind of like where you guys are right now, it's the exact same thing for us. It's just, it's kind of where we found ourselves. Like, I think on a manufacturing front, things have to move a little slower. Just because you're dealing with equipment and like programming and all that kind of stuff. With us, if we want to carry a new product, I link up with somebody who's already done years of manufacturing stuff. They have a product that's ready to go. I start to carry it, photograph it, learn about it, talk about it. If it's a product that's already made, in a couple of weeks, I can then go and offer it, right? And that's pretty quick. So retailing allows you to do that. It's slower with manufacturing. So I think, in your space, it's happened along a similar time frame. It's just everything's a little more elongated. But for me, it's kind of the same thing of what you just said 20 minutes ago, where you were like, we kind of had to do it. It's like we were outgrowing the space. Like literally, I said all the same things. I never envisioned that we were going to go get this big commercial space. I'm still in complete disbelief because our space is now 24,000 square feet. And like I'm spun around 6 times, and I was in my garage. It's like I remember what it was like to kind of move and go through all of the same emotions in every step of the process. It's just, for me, it happened in a much more compressed time frame. So I really was like, didn't know what the heck was going on. I'm you're a little bit older, a little bit wiser. You can't tell because you got a baby face.
There's some
if you
gray
didn't have the
in
beard,
here.
people would be thinking that I was older probably. But you look really good for your wise years. But but no, it's been nice. from my perspective, having grown so fast, like we've been stretched, and like Rachel and I have been like stretched to the point of pain almost sometimes because it's been so fast growth. But for you, it's like it's been along the same track, which has been kind of cool because we've been able to kind of like slingshot with each other and kind of pull each other along in certain ways. Yeah. And it's like, I remember early on, we were talking about shipping softwares to use, and you told us about Text Expander as like as a handy tool for like answering emails and stuff. I use it a little bit. My team uses it though. I love so it's like it's so we were able to share like little bits and pieces as business people back and forth. It's really cool.
But along the lines of growth though too, I'll be the first to admit that really sometimes I kind of resist it. We're at a point where we're turning down work. Yeah. I mean, we're not expanding our retailers because at times we're having trouble making our current demand. Sure. Now the new machinery, the things we're going through, that could totally be a game changer. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I honestly don't know how to predict how it's going to happen. I know that we'll be able to make more stuff. Okay. We'll be able to make more product. But there's also a side of me that, I still want to be the guy that answers the phone when you call the Edison Pen Company. I still want to be the for now. I know that might change. That might change.
You get so stinking busy. You're like answering emails at 11 o'clock at night. You're like, maybe I shouldn't answer the phone anymore.
But the other thing to that, it's not just being the one to answer the phone or the one that you'll get the email from if you email the Edison Pen Company. It's probably coming from me. I also don't want to get my hands out of the product. Yeah. Really, what got me into this was just a love for making stuff. And I found that I loved making pens. And I don't want to get to a point where I'm at a desk all day and I'm not in there helping with the manufacturer. There's some pens that are awfully complex that only I can do, and I still love doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to get to a point I don't want to be a huge pen company. I want to stay independent. I want to stay small. I want to keep making pens. Right. I don't want to be a manager of people.
So your goal is not to like grow this and like sell it to a larger pen company.
I don't want to make $10 million a year. Dollars? No, I meant pieces.
Lamy started back in 1930. That's a good. So it's like over that time frame, who knows? Like you could be establishing a legacy here.
Maybe my son Andrew.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's.
If he doesn't end up going working for NASA, maybe he'll use Edison as his fallback plan. Why not? But he's 12? He's got some time.
He's 12. Yeah, he'll figure it out.
A little time. Yeah, but he helps out in the shop there. I saw he was had a bit of snow here. He was helping out in the shop, sanding some pens. Yeah,
we had a snow day today.
In the family business. That's pretty awesome. I will literally for me, my whole from a very ethereal kind of level, that was my motivation for starting a business. Is I worked in a business. My parents had a business in the house, and I got to do the same kind of stuff. Like I would have a snow day at school, and I would work with my parents in the business. I was doing Photoshop editing, and I had doing overprinting. And my parents had a design, a desktop publishing design business in the house. Yeah. So I would do typesetting, and I would do this type of stuff as a 9-year-old or 10 or 12-year-old. That's cool. And to me, that gave me the work ethic that I have. It helped me save for college and graduate with no debt. Yeah. I got to spend great quality time with my parents and got a good establishment of values, and that is carried through into my life. So I wanted that for my kids, and that was originally that was my dream of why I wanted to run a business out of the house, was to have that much contact with my kids and be the family business. And so I completely resonate kind of with that. But of course, Andrew, if you don't want to work in the business,
Andrew's
that's okay. He's back over there playing with Rubik's Cubes and stuff. He's doing really good, really quiet back here.
Well, and really a compliment to him, and just maybe a funny anecdote here. He does a very good job of sanding colliers. Yeah? And I'm not kidding. There's probably a good amount of colliers out there that my 12-year-old has had his hands in that, if you own a collier production line, there's obviously he can't work 8 hours a day, right. But there is a slim chance that between the ages of 8 and 12, my young boy might have had a hand in making your pen. Hey, and I like that.
If he's got the skills, right? There you go. Who knew? The things you get to learn behind the scenes, right? No, but I think there's so many people that can resonate with that. Anybody who has a family business, or maybe they were raised in a family business, it's the same kind of thing. The shopkeeper, these kids are ringing the cash register on the Main Street store, same kind of vibe. That very much Americana kind of vibe, which this is the first time I've ever been to Ohio. You know, it's not that different from Virginia, honestly. Like landscape-wise, and people are really friendly, and it's like lots of space, like very kind of rural, even in a, you know, this isn't a highly populated area, but there's stuff here. You know, like Cedar Point's right up the road, and there's stuff going on. There's NASA here, you know. But it's the same kind of thing in Virginia. It feels very similar to this. But yeah, it's just you get that sense of like that kind of heart of the country, like kind of thing, you know, and that to me just feels like there's lots of farming, there's agriculture, there's very much that family business kind of feel, which I think is so cool, which is why I think it's just such a conducive environment for this kind of thing. And I didn't realize how much stuff was named Edison around here, like literally like everything, like there's like the first thing I did, Drew and I drove here, we got to our hotel, you know, it was dark and it was cold, and we arrived, and like the first room that I pass in our hotel is called the Edison room. It's their conference room. And I'm like, wow, they really lean into Edison here in Milan.
I mean, Milan is there's one stoplight.
Right.
It's a small town. You guys haven't actually gone through downtown Milan
no,
yet.
We haven't.
You will on your way to the hotel tonight, all right?
Okay.
But with one stoplight, the only thing that we have is that Thomas Edison was born here. That's all we got. Right. So we have to, you know, take advantage of what we have.
There you go.
Yeah, there's nothing else here.
We got some good restaurants, I'll say. We've been eating well since we've been here. Lots of cheese and things, which I'm not complaining about at all. Big fan of cheese. Drew's nodding back there. He's in agreement on that. Drew's been eating well. Lots of cheese, lots of jalapenos, right?
You didn't compliment me and Andrew for being quiet, by the way, Brian.
Yeah, well, okay, so
Andrew,
Andrew, you know, he's a kid, so
I'm being good too.
He's got
he's been okay.
Drew's
Andrew's been an angel.
Drew's a big kid. Andrew's been a champ. You haven't heard a peep out of her, except when she's trying to get the dog to be quiet without saying anything. I don't know how she's been managing that, but Luna's been all right.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, it's super late. Thank you so much for staying up with us. I know you've had a long day, and we got a long day tomorrow, but I hope you all enjoyed this. Brian's awesome. His whole family, his whole team is great. And we hope to see great things from you in 2018. Glad to hear that you're growing, and that we can be any part of that is our honor.
Appreciate it. I did see on your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook that you said, what questions do you have for the Edison Pen Company?
Yeah.
And obviously, I didn't want to start answering those because we were going to cover it here.
Right.
We didn't cover a lot, though. So I'll do my best.
Okay.
I'll do my best to get to those Facebook and Twitter posts, and
Okay.
kind of maybe I can give in my own responses to what people had as well.
People like hearing straight from the source, you know?
Absolutely. Well, I didn't want to jump in on it, though, knowing that you were coming here with the questions.
It's all right.
I'll do my best on that one.
It's all good. All right, so everybody, you can check out Edison's at Edison Pens at edisonpen.com. Of course, you can get a selection of them, the production line anyway, at gouletpens.com. You can get in line for a custom pen. You have, what, a 17-week backlog right now?
We're backed up 17 weeks on custom orders.
Okay, but you might have a new lathe, like, up and running by the time you get caught up on that. Who knows?
Exactly.
You know, hey, you can get in line there. You can check out. They got all kinds of cool stuff. Nice, small American-made pen company. This is the first time I said American-made, but you get the gist. You know, we're in Ohio.
We don't harp on that, but absolutely. But everybody knows it.
Part of it. It's part of the deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Right on.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.
Yeah, man.